An effective advertising campaign helps to increase customer reach, build customer awareness of a business and brand. But where the message is provocative, offensive, and insensitive to some people, the result is crisis. This is where effective regulation becomes sacrosanct in maintaining peace and tranquility of the nation. The Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria is saddled with promoting responsible and ethical advertising practice, acting as the conscience of the society and watchdog for the consumer, while managing the needs and interests of stakeholders in the advertising industry. Is the Council living to these biddings as stipulated by the Act that established it in 2022? Stay with us as we dig deeper for answers. I am Joseph Oten. Welcome to On the Spot. My guest is a graduate of economics from Ogun State University and also holds a master's degree in marketing communication from Backup University, Master of Business Administration, Federal University of Technology, Akure, another master's degree in legal studies at Lagos State University, Lasso, and PhD in marketing communication from Backup University. He is a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, Arcon. On the spot is the Director General, Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, Olalekan Fadolapo.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, all right. You're welcome. Okay, let's start with the name itself. Start from Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria to today, Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria. Why the change and what's the change there all about?
The Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria Act, the Act establishing the Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria was enacted in 1988. And between 1988 and to date, so many things have changed. First. Number two, the council lost some cases in the court due to the name, the long title, the scope, functions and power, so many lacunas that were established by the court. Now, based on that, the National Assembly went ahead to review the law. In the process of reviewing the law, it was discovered that so many things have changed. The media has unbundled. The skill set within the sector has unbundled. So many things have come to play. In order to make the agency relevant in today's advertising, ensuring as a gatekeeper of advertising, advertisement, and marketing communication, so they felt like they need to change the entire law. So that's why the practitioner was removed and replaced by a Regulatory Council of Nigeria. Also, the new law made some new introductions, like the AOT, Advertising Offences Tribunal. So it was established under the Act. The powers and function of the council was reviewed. The scope of work that is being done now, the definition of the word advertising, advertisement, and marketing communication. So all this together makes a new agency. So the Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria Act was repealed. Then the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria Act was enacted. So that was how the transition came.
Okay, since that you were there, and then you are here too with the new law, and then there are some regulations. There are some policies that have taken place. You have to under the Advertising Industry Standard of Practice. Can you just give us an insight into this, what this policy is all about?
Okay, number one, the Advertising Industry Standard of Practice has to do with set standard, the minimum acceptable set standard for the industry. Now, when I assumed duty as the fourth registrar of the council, I met with all the sectoral groups, and we all agreed that there's need to review the standard of practice to align with best global practices. That's number one. The second thing is that the Honorable Minister also directed that all agencies within regulatory must engage the stakeholders to see how we can improve the business. So we set up an industry-wide committee with representatives from all the sectoral groups. So they came together to propose to us that this is the agreed set standard. Now, we took this to the Honorable Minister, who directed that the legal department should look at it vis-a-vis constitution, public interest, as well as ensure that it's in line with our Act, Establishment Act. So after that, the Honorable Minister approved the standard of practice, which we took back to the industry. Now, what are the content, or let me just give you a small highlights. One, we have the issue of credit policy. Globally, the credit system is always regulated within that industry. Now, if you go to other markets, some markets is 30 days, some markets is 45 days. But in Nigeria, we have a sector that insists they want to do 120 days. Meaning that when they buy media from you, they have to pay you 120 days after. Now, the law now says it's 45 days to align with best global practices. Let me come in to say that each regulatory agency sets standard, minimum standard for its industry. The Nigerian Insurance Company, Nicon, sets standard for the insurance industry. CBN sets standard for the banking industry. So what Arcon has done is, after the report with input from all stakeholders, say this is now the minimum industry standard. Now, before now, when you fire your agency, there's issue of they are owing me and owing them.
Yeah.
Now, there's a disengagement policy in place. You have a right to terminate, to hire and fire. However, when you are firing your agency, do reconciliation and ensure that the issue of financial obligations are resolved before you bring in another agency into the picture. It happens, as an accountant, you cannot engage an auditor, fire the auditor, and engage another auditor without getting clearance from the outgoing auditor. Now, the industry is riddled with debt. Where and how do we find solution to this? Is to ensure that at every particular point in time, when you are bringing a contract to closure, all issues arising to that contract is resolved, is put on the table and resolved. So the agency will move on, the client will move on. So these are the few little things that are put in place to ensure minimum standard in the advertising industry.
Okay. These reforms, definitely, I've read you have come under attacks from so many quarters regarding reforms. One of the major challenges, one of the complaints is that the ban on the use of foreign models and voice over artists, it has to be in Nigerian, then the use of cumulative at least 75% local content in ambience. So put all this together. Others are kind of an attack on other countries. Can you explain what this is all about?
Okay. Now, we are a government regulatory agency. We key into the government policy of economic development. What we have done is part of the local content policy. Now, it takes a village to produce an advert, a whole village, meaning that you need so many things to come together. You need a model. Because you need a model, you need a costumier, you need a wardrobe manager, you need a makeup artist, you need a voiceover artist, you need crew, you need DOP. Now, what happened in the past is that all these things are done outside the country. We agree that there's globalization, but we are also saying that there's localization. You can do your strategy and everything, but when it comes to execution, come and do it in Nigeria. We have over 200 million Nigerians as of today, according to available figure. Now, are you saying that we don't have one Nigerian that can fit in into that product? Now, we are going to another country to shoot a commercial with over 300 million, 500 million. You are coming back to Nigeria with a flash drive. That money you have invested in another economy. If you engage Nigerians to do this thing, definitely the money will be in this economy. Now, by the time you are done with this, you are coming back with that flash drive. You are saying that you are going to place that material in Nigeria. You are going to sell your products to Nigerians and to make profit from Nigerians. The second leg is that there are foreign medias and there are also local media. You are placing that same material in foreign media and you are paying them upfront. But you are saying that for the local media, you want to pay after 120 days. It doesn't make sense. This sector is killing the industry because there's no way the advertising industry will witness growth if we continue to do things like that. Are you saying that out of all the voices, you don't have one in Nigeria that can fit into that?
And of course, we have heard a lot of good voices in Nigeria.
So use us to advertise to us so that you can make your profit from us and we can all be happy. Nigeria will enjoy. Look at the Big Brother Nigeria, for example. Before now, it was shot out of the country. But now, because it's been shot in the country, you can imagine the ecosystem that creates. You can imagine the employment that creates. So what we are saying is that as an industry, Nigerians as people, Nigeria as an economy must benefit from advertisement, advertising, and marketing communication. Minimum of 75%. So the thing is for us as a government to see how we can improve our own industry. And that is the primary purpose of that policy.
Okay, when you look at this, perhaps some people will look at it and say they're looking at the standard and so on. But as an agency that is so concerned about this, it's important that there will be that collaboration with other organizations, other institutions, especially in the area of training, and then maybe getting, maybe like the athletes, to understand this, the basic standards that will meet up to whatever the agent is looking for. How much of this have you done? Because when you have policies like that, you need to actually bring it down and carry other stakeholders along, carry other institutions along, so that you build on it, and then there will be that development in terms of the capacity to deliver. Others have accused you of not carrying other agencies along, especially with the establishment of this law. Okay,
now, let me first talk about this, and let me talk about the accusation. Now, the accusation is from Advan, and I'll speak to that. But let me first speak about the local content policy.
Yeah.
The two key sectoral groups affected here are the AVOA and the PROMAN. AVOA means voice over artists. Then the PROMAN are the modeling agencies. We have done so much in terms of engagement, and we are also doing so much in terms of capacity development. I'm not saying these are the only two. ITPAN is there in the Federal Television Producers Association of Nigeria. You need to understand that we may not be there overnight, but gradually we need to move towards that space. But if we abandon it, we will not grow it. So the question is, should we fold our arms and allow imported advertisement to overrun the space? Now, what that also does is to the larger macro economy, it's more of a capital flight, even to us as an industry. I had a conversation with one of the presidents of the ITPAN. He said during his time as president, they have 120 members, but now they have less than 20 because most of the jobs have been taken completely out of them. So the second leg that has to do with they are not involved, the accusation from Advan is not true. One, Advan is a member of ASP. ASP is the Advertising Standard Panel, the committee responsible for vetting advertisement. Advan has two members on ASP. They have members on the advertising industry colloquium. They have members on the advertising conference and other sectoral groups committee. So the accusation that they have been alienated in strategic decisions does not hold. I don't want to go deeper into that, but that is what I will say for now.
Okay, we will still come back and continue with the conversation after this short break. Don't go away. We'll take a break now, but we'll return shortly. Welcome back to On the Spot with the Director General Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, Olalekan Fadolapo.
Thank you.
Okay, before you go in there, we're talking about some accusation in terms of not carrying other agencies along. But is there no way you can collaborate?
Yes, we have always. You know, the truth around this advanced position has to do with what they want and what the industry wants. We have other sectors of the industry, but we will not hold the industry down because of one sectoral group. Now, we had a meeting where you have your representative in attendance at different times. They come to conclusion, and after coming to conclusion, you come back to say you did not agree. The vote is not determined by one person who takes like it must be my own. It is by majority to say what is equity, what is fair. Fairness is fairness, equity is equity. You may disagree with my point, but that does not mean you are right. The position we are is that everybody agreed that the industry must move forward. But your own definition of moving forward may be different. So what we are focused on is ensuring equity, fairness, responsible advertising as a gatekeeper in the advertising industry. We will continue to engage. Our doors are open. We will continue to talk. But we must be a conversation that is going to lead to equity and fairness, that is going to grow the advertising industry. Anything that is not aimed at growing the advertising industry, we will not support.
Okay, let's look at this issue on the social media. That's another area you have come under serious attack. Thus, you are trying to regulate the social media.
Okay. On the social media, there's also another area that our organization and my person has been misunderstood. Let me first say, in terms of content, digital content is divided into three, or can be classified into three. We have information, we have entertainment, and we have advertisement. Sometimes people will say two, infotainment, meaning that information and entertainment is one, then advertising is two. Let me reiterate here, and let me say it once again. We don't have power. We don't have power to regulate the digital media. No. What we are regulating is advertising on the digital media to ensure that it is ethical and responsible. If you are a skit maker and you are doing your comedy, you don't have anything to do with you. If you are doing your broadcast and you are uploading stories, you don't have anything to do with you. But when you cross the line from entertainment into brand marketing, brand communication, marketing communication, then you are crossing into a regulated space. And because of that, whatever you are going to do must be vetted, approved before exposure. You saw what happened 2 years ago when a bank came up with an advert comparing Jesus Christ, the death of Jesus or the rise of Jesus, to a loaf of bread in Agege. If that advert has been submitted for vetting, I can assure you that the advert will not have been released, approved outside. If you see the level of shenanigans and unethical advertising that is going on in that space, you will be extremely surprised. You wake up in the morning and this is what you see. So what have we said? You have your space. You have your platform. However, if you are going into brand communication and advertising, that part is the only one we take responsibility for. We are not regulating skit makers. We are not regulating influencers. But when they are involving products and marketing communication. So whatever they are pushing out without approval needs to be vetted by Arcon. If they push it out without approval, it becomes illegal, in line with the law. This is what happens on the traditional media. And it's also what happens on the digital space. Not that we are regulating digital social media, because the conversation outside there is that we are attempting to regulate the social media. No. What we are regulating is advertising on the digital platform.
Okay. Okay, let's look at this issue. You talked about regulation. Anyone listening to you up there now, some will be nodding their heads, say yes, 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 yes. But one thing many people question is that issue of, we say these things, but we don't see actions. We don't see prosecution. I'm sure you had a tribunal, right, that normally takes care of things like this. What are you doing in terms of certain examples out there so that people will see and say, oh, these people are serious?
Let me say this to you. Thank you very much for that question. Some months ago, some of the influencers, some of them came up and promote a property investment, crypto property, and all these foreign investments. So Nigerians went into it based on those things, their promotion, and it ended up a scam. And so the first reaction was, why did this thing get out there? Why did this thing get out there?
Of course, I've also questioned that.
People started asking, so you people are sleeping. So we went out and we started, and that was one of the reasons why the National Assembly felt like, look, if you think that the social media is not included, we will redefine media and ensure that this law we're talking about was passed in July this year. Now, the Assembly further created the Advertising Offences Tribunal, meaning that, like the stock exchange with the IST, Investment and Security Tribunal, we also have our own High Court, that is a specialized judicial body meant to adjudicate on offences that are created under that act. Now, the Advertising Offences Tribunal was just recently inaugurated by the Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed. They have commenced procedure for their sitting, and by the time they start sitting, if you violate any section of the law, either on digital media or on traditional media, either in terms of trade business agreement or framework, you will be dragged to that AOT. So we are just waiting for their full takeoff, which will happen in the next few weeks.
Okay. We hope that when examples are set, I think people will take us more serious. Thank you, Director General Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, Olalekan Fadolapo.
Thank you very much
for your time on the spot.
Thank you very much.
I think we will still have more.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think we'll look for time to even speak more on this again. There's so much to talk about.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
And that is it for this week on the spot. See you next time. I'm Joseph Oten.